Welcome back to Focus Daily TV. Today we will be speaking about wartime propaganda. So, how it is exactly that fear is instilled into the people, allowing these bankers and corporate entities to run the schemes and scams that they run? Well, it is introduced through their corporate media. And today we'll be examining a classic example of corporate media manipulation. And ironically, it's nothing more but a great allegory of the war that actually occurred right here in North America, the true Holocaust in which tens of millions was killed. Tens of million Afro-American individuals who are the true recipients or birthright holders of this land. Let's get straight into it. We're not going to do a lot of talking. Let the show begin.
The H.G. Wells radio production of The War of the Worlds, a world-famous forgery of 1938. On October 30th, 1938, CBS Radio in the United States broadcast a radio play produced by the Mercury Theater on the air under.
So once again, Central Broadcasting, Shackling, and other media organizations and corporate entities of such work hand in hand with this Anglo-Saxon society, or these pirates that intentionally seek to disenfranchise and then deceive the people. Through corporate news media entities, they introduce their propaganda, and it takes effects of the minds of the people within this land.
Under the direction of Orson Welles. On the eve of Halloween 1938, the Mercury Theater decided to produce an hour-long radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds, which they brought to New Jersey in 1939. They relied on actor Orson Welles, whose resemblance to the novel's author allowed them to recreate the original text without violating his rights. At the beginning of the hour, one of the actors announced the beginning of the radio play, followed by the weather forecast. Then the concert by Ramon Raquello and his orchestra began. Soon the music was interrupted by an urgent report that strange flares were being observed.
So basically, through media conglomerates, the people are being ideologically subverted, and fear is being introduced to the people. It was all just a great experiment to see how far they could take the manipulation. They literally want to see if we can believe these people, if we convince these people to believe that we're getting invaded by aliens from Mars. But the real aliens was those foreigners and corporate entities that came upon this land, reclassified us, registered us, and created a system of bondmen and bondwomen as spoken about in biblical prophecy.
Observed on Mars. Then Princeton astronomer Professor Richard Pearson denied the possibility of life on Mars. The concert continued, but was soon interrupted again by a special news bulletin. CBS reporter Carl Phillips was at the scene.
It was all just a great psychological experiment being placed upon the people in order to bring in this New World Order system of government.
Of the landing of a metal cylinder in Grover's Mill, Mercer County. Soon.
Just how much can we deceive and confuse these people so we can continue to disenfranchise them and profit from their resources and them individually through their soul, spirit, and mind.
An enormous war machine allegedly emerged from the cylinder, with heat rays vaporizing everything around it. Phillips turned to flee, as did the rest of the onlookers, and communications were cut off. Professor Pearson, who contacted the radio studio, speculated on the technical level of the Martians.
When you see a little artwork like that, know that's them invading this land and going from community to community, slaughtering whole families in order to, once again, disenfranchise them and take their land. All of this occurred in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Orson Welles just captured it and created a great allegory known as the War of the Worlds as a form of entertainment, but more importantly, ideological manipulation.
Then New Jersey National Guard Chief Montgomery Smith declared martial law in Mercer and Middlesex counties and sent 4 National Guard units from Trenton to Grover's Mill to evacuate the civilians. Earthlings' weapons proved ineffective against the aliens. The deadly machines continued to land and destroy people and infrastructure, and crowds of people fled the invaders. The unnamed Attorney General had an address to the nation.
Wow. They're really going in depth. Put your discernment caps on, people. This is some good shit right here.
The radio station had forbidden the reproduction of President Franklin Roosevelt's speech, but Delmar reproduced Roosevelt's voice anyway. Soon a reporter from the artillery unit bombing the Martians came on the radio.
The alignment of actors and political figures is a major thing. We're not here to talk about that, but Google that.
They were attacked by bombers, which were destroyed by death rays, though they did bring down one of the alien vehicles. The Martians used poisonous gases, and communications were cut off again. CBS employee Ray Collins climbed to the roof of the CBS building and...
This is really the ironic part. They're actually exposing what occurred on this land when they arrived, when they was going from community to community. They're actually exposing the true Holocaust of the actual, real American Jews, Judah, Jerusalem, which the Bible speaks of. Here on Focus Daily TV, we speak about biblical prophecy. Hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel, hashtag Focus Daily TV. Let's move on. We almost out. Hang in there.
Saw several Martian vehicles crossing the Hudson River. He, too, smelled the noxious odor, and the broadcast was interrupted. Through the interference came a radio amateur trying to contact someone. It was only at this point, some 40 minutes into the production, that the announcer reminded us of the fictional nature of the events being described.
The production began as soon as they went live, from the introduction to the outro. So it's something to learn throughout the whole event as a whole. Just pay attention and continue to listen. You're doing good.
Professor Pearson then described the end of the alien attack, which was ruined by their lack of immunity to Earth's bacteria. At the end of the hour, Wells stepped out of the role and wished the audience a happy Halloween. According to newspaper reports, about 6 million New Jerseyans heard the production, and about 1/5 of them, about 1,200,000 people, thought it was real news. 300,000 Americans later claimed to have personally seen aliens. The National Guard was alerted. People claimed to have heard gunfire and smelled poisonous gases.
Yes, this is interesting. Let's move on.
A radio drama was heard on the West Coast. At its climax, the power plant in the town of Concrete, Washington State, failed. The people of Concrete had no doubt that the power lines had been destroyed by the invading Martians. More rational thinkers assured them that it was not the Martians who had it.
Yes, it was technology already here when they arrived. Advanced technology. Technology that they never experienced before in their existence in the East. Technology that they had to disenfranchise. Let's carry on.
Attacked, but the Germans. Or the Russians, who knows? Many either
all nations conspired against us.
Did not hear the beginning of the program with the warning about the fictional nature of the events, or forgot about it after the concert began. Mercury Theater on the air did not have a sponsor at the time, so they...
When they were talking about memory lapses, they're talking about y'all. Pay attention.
May not have inserted commercials into the production. By the time the announcer's reminder came on the 40th minute, many had stopped listening to the radio. Whole families were barricading themselves with guns in the basements of their homes, or hurriedly packing their bags to leave for the West, many calling on the armed forces to finish off the aliens or to hand out guns to anyone who wanted them. There were cases of squads of armed locals showing up at police stations ready to help defend the country from invasion. Telephones were overloaded 5 times that night, and traffic jams from New York, Trenton, and Philadelphia stretched nearly 100 kilometers. New York City police received more than 2,000 calls in 15 minutes alone, and
the irony. That's all I got to say is the irony. All right, thank you for tuning in to another episode. Hopefully, you gain insight from the information I'm presenting. As always, focus